Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're having a little bit of glitches today with the Zoom. So if anyone is trying to get into the Zoom and you can't get in, you can type in a password. It's 191462. I don't know why a password appeared today on it, but you can try that. So we will get started in just a moment here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and focus today on nerve flossing again, and this time for the upper body. So we're going to be doing things that are good for the neck, good for carpal tunnel, good for releasing the shoulders. If you're spending a lot of time on the computer, if you're feeling hunched over, this is great for you. I do want to just give a quick note about nerve flossing, which is that while you're doing it, you may experience some tingling sensations or pulling the nerve line, right? We're trying to floss the nerve back and forth. But I don't want you pain. And the sensation that you might have a little resonant sensation for like a half an hour afterwards. Like sometimes I feel sort of a little more alive or a little more electric in those places. Again, not with pain. But then at the end of the day, if you feel painful in those spots, so if you're feeling like it just really kicked it up, that means that you did too much. And so that means that if you're doing this on a regular basis, if you're watching this video, to just do like maybe 5 sets. I'm going to do about 10 sets of each thing or 10 times. So you want to just cut it down to 5 or do it a little bit softer. And then you can try taking it up to the 10. So we just are trying to get some movement of the nerve within the muscles. So feel free to reach out if you have questions about that, if you're having pain at the end of the day, because that's not what we want to be creating here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to start seated today. And it's okay for you to sit comfortably, anything where you feel like you're going to be comfortable. So that could mean in a chair, that could mean on a floor. And I don't always say this when we're sitting up. You don't always have to have a tall spine, right? Sometimes I feel like pulling your spine up can be a little bit aggressive, but for these exercises, it is helpful to have your chest upright. So you want to make sure that you can support yourself well to sit up straight. So that might mean sitting at the edge of the chair, or if you're sitting directly on the floor, it will mean padding underneath your hips. You're going to lift your hips up so that your spine can be at a little bit more ease. All right, so go ahead and find that comfortable seat. And we're just going to spend a couple breaths just checking in with the body. So you can close your eyes. And just kind of checking in with where you're at today. Noticing your breath, noticing where you might feel tension. And then I invite you just to find a slightly longer breath. So I'm going to inhale. And then I'm going to exhale, make a little sound on my exhale. A little constriction on the throat, very gentle. And that little sound on the back of the throat is just helping me control how quickly I pull in the breath and how quickly I let go of it. And you can just continue that on your own. And after that, just if you start to sag on your exhales. Instead of sagging, see if you can just imagine the exhale just floats upwards on the front of your spine, just to encourage that seated upright position. So that each exhale actually makes you a little taller, a little longer. I've said this before, I don't usually start in a seated posture, but since we are starting with the nerve flossing, we're starting with an upright spine, and we will get down onto the floor as well as do standing poses today. All right, so with your breath, you can just start to gently move your head around. So we're just going to start with some really gentle Just kind of exploring, moving the chin up and down, moving the head around, maybe ear towards the shoulder. If you're moving back with your head, be sure that you lift your chest up as you go to the back so that you're getting just a nice openness. So just really kind of just like a general, just getting some movement. You might also practice just turning your head and looking over one shoulder, notice the things in the room, and then turning the other way. And then we're going to bring ourselves back towards center. We're going to inhale. We're just going to lift the arms up with the palms facing one another. So just lift the arms up, inhale, and then exhale and bringing the arms down. And then again, inhale, lifting the arms up. So we're just linking the breath with the movement, keeping a tall spine even as we exhale and let the arms come down. Noticing how this movement feels. And just one more. And exhaling, releasing the arm down. We're going to take the left arm out to the side, and then we're just going to bring the left hand to the lower back. So I'm just giving a little internal rotation. And you can also take the palm and turn the palm back towards the wall behind you as you bring that arm behind the back so that you're touching the back of your hand to your lower back. And then from here, I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to place my right hand on my left arm. So I'm just going to kind of pull on that arm a little bit. It just kind of naturally, when I reach it and then I release the right arm, it just kind of gives it a natural little pull. And then I'm gonna take my chin and I'm just gonna go downwards. I'm gonna look downwards. And then I'm gonna inhale, I'm gonna turn my chin and look up. Turning it towards the right as I look up, and then exhale down. And then inhaling, looking up, and exhale and looking down. Inhale to look up, and exhaling down. Just two more on this side. And one more. All right, I'm going to bring myself back to center. I already feel a little compression on that shoulder from that bind. So I'm going to inhale. I'm just going to float the arm up. And then I'm going to exhale. I'm going to bend the elbow here, just straight out to the side. Give a little release to the front of the shoulder and then release that down. I'm going to go ahead and take the same thing. So I'm going to turn, internally rotate my right arm, palm faces back, bring the back of the hand to touch onto my lower back. And from here, I'll take my left hand, catch hold of my right arm, and then just let myself soften a little. And I'm still sitting up straight, right? So I'm not letting my chest sag, but I'm sitting up nice and tall. And then I'm going to turn my chin down towards my right shoulder. And then I'm going to inhale and turn my chin and look up to the left. And exhale and look down. Inhale, looking up. And exhale down. And a real gentle opening here of the sides of the neck. And one more. All right, I'm going to inhale myself back to center. And I'm going to reach my arm up again, right arm up towards the sky. Exhale, bend that right elbow, just letting it have some openness across the front of the chest, feeling the front of that shoulder joint open. And then we'll go ahead and lower that down. All right, we're going to do some things for carpal tunnel, so for the median nerve. So I'm going to work just one side at a time. And so I'm going to reach my left arm out towards the left. Now, for this one, what we're going to try to do is we're going to be doing the flossing where when we flex through the hand, we want to be moving the head to the other side. So they're sort of moving oppositionally with each other. And then I'm going to flex the hand down, arm straight out to the side. And as I do that, I'm going to bring my head over towards the left. So it's like they're going to work together. So I'm going to inhale and look up and move my head to the right. And then exhale, head to the left, and hand goes down. And again, inhaling up and exhaling down. I'm still sitting up nice and tall. I'm moving nice and easy and nice and slowly and just noticing, right? If I move too deep in it, I feel a little pinchy, so try not to move too deep. We're going to do 10 on this one, so you've got about 5 more. If it's too much, you can put your hands down in your lap and take a rest. All right, when you're ready, last one. Inhale, lift the hand, head towards the right, and exhale and go down. All right, I'm going to let that go. I'm just going to take a gentle pause here for a moment and just let yourself close your eyes. And I just want you to take a moment to recognize the difference between the right and your left. What is the sensation that you're feeling? So if you have carpal tunnel, it's most likely on the right side, and we're going to move to that side now. So I just want you to notice how it feels to do it on your quote unquote good side, or the side that maybe feels more free. It's not true for everybody, but it may be that you have it, it's more likely that you have it on your right. All right, when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. We'll move to the right side. So again, I'm going to reach my arm out in line with my shoulder. If you're not feeling it so much, you also can go back a little bit with the arm. But again, you don't want to overstretch through the nerves. So you just want to be really gentle with yourself. And then same thing here. Hand up, head over to the side. It's like they're working together, like they have a little string that's attached. And then I go down. And I'm going to inhale, go up. And exhale, go down. And inhale, go up. And exhale down. And about 5 more. Again, if you need to take a break here, you can, if you're feeling it too much. Keeping the spine nice and long. All right, let's make this the last one. Inhaling. And exhaling. And then again, you can bring your hand to your lap, maybe gently close your eyes for a moment. Just notice what it is that you're feeling and the difference between your right and your left. A couple of breaths there, feeling the length of your spine. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, lift your arms up. Inhale, lift the arms up. And exhale the arms down. We're going to do one more here. I'm going to back up so that you can see it with a little more clarity. But same thing, you're still going to be sitting. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and take my arm, and we'll start again on the left side. I'm going to take my arm. I'm going to take my left hand. I'm going to act like I'm grabbing hold of a jar top here. So I'm going to hold that jar top. I'm going to bend my elbow and bring the jar down. And then from here, I'm going to turn my hand in. So I'm going to internally rotate that arm and move my head over to the side. Inhale. And then exhale, unscrew the jar and come back to center. And then I'm going to inhale, turn that jar, move my head to the side. And exhale. And turning the jar. And exhale. And we're going to do just one of these. And exhale. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to reach the arm out to the side and reach it up towards the sky, shoulder nice and soft. And then exhale, bring the hand down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to find that jar hand, bring the jar down with my bent elbow. I'm going to turn it inwards and move my head over to the side. And then I'm going to come back to center, unscrewing the jar and moving the head back to the midline. And then do that again. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And a couple more. And last one. All right, when you're ready, you can bring your arms down. We're gonna one more time lift the arms up. So when you're ready, you can inhale, just lift your arms up towards the sky, shoulders soft on the back. And then exhale, arms come down, and we're just gonna repeat that. And I want you to notice just what feels different for you now, right? So what is it that moved and changed? Do you feel a little more free in your neck and your arms? A couple more times, linking the breath, inhale. And exhale. And we'll go two more. And X. And one more. All right, so that is the nerve flossing portion of this class. We'll be working a little bit more with the head and the neck and the shoulders, but we'll move more now into our standing poses, to a more traditional yoga practice. I will say we are going to do some work on the hands. So if you have carpal tunnel, you'll want to make sure to pad underneath your wrists. So when you're ready, you can flip yourself over to hands and knees. I'm going to come to hands and knees, and if you're padding underneath your wrists, it's nice to just have either like a small rolled up hand towel, or I don't have one for today. So I'm just going to underfold my mat and then put that underfold under the heel of my hand with my fingertips reaching out off of it. So it's my fingertips are just on one level, but under my wrist has a little lift. Okay, from here, we're going to come to hands and knees position, and we'll inhale and look up and find cow pose. I'm going to spread my fingers nice and wide here to help protect the wrists. And I'm just spending a couple breaths here, just feeling the openness across the front of my chest, fingers nice and active. And then I'm going to exhale. I'm going to round into my cat pose, tucking my tailbone under, drawing the top of the head down towards the floor. I'm going to stay here for a few breaths as well. And then I'm just going to rock forward and back. Again, spreading the fingertips nice and wide, finding some openness on the fingers. And then again, inhale, lifting up, look up, find cow pose. And exhale, moving into cat. I'm moving on the breath now, starting to awaken the spine. Inhale to lift up. And exhale to round. And just two more. If you're watching the screen, you can see I like to kind of rock my weight forward and back a little bit as I do these. So I'm just using different muscles. I'm feeling a little weight transfer between my knees and my hands. However you do that is fine. There's no wrong way about rocking forward and back here. All right, I'm going to come back to a child's pose. I'm going to extend my arms long and forward, bringing my forehead either down onto the mat or onto some padding. And feeling the shoulders start to open. One more full breath here. All right, I'm going to press into my drawing forward, and then I'm going to move myself to have some padding underneath my knees. We're going to do a little bit to wake up the legs here. I'm going to start back. I'm going to tuck my left toes under and just rock my weight forward and back for a moment. So I'm just getting some opening on the back of the leg. And then I'm going to go ahead and pause here in the center. I'm going to draw my front body towards my back body, lift my back leg up off the floor for a moment without sagging into the back. So if you're sagging in your back, lower your back foot, draw your belly upwards. And then I'm going to draw the knee into the chest and step the foot forward between the hands. All right, from here, I'm going to move my back knee back a little bit in space and then pull my weight forward so that I roll over the top of the kneecap and then draw myself up, maybe onto the elbows, or you might be using your hands on the floor or on blocks, or you could have a chair in front of you to support you, whatever feels right for your practice. And then I'm going to inhale. I'm going to lift my arms up here if that feels comfortable for you. And then I'm going to open my arms out to the side. Imagine that I'm just spreading or flying. Just one more breath here. And then I'm going to exhale. I'm going to bring my hands down. Again, you could use blocks under your hands as you move your front leg towards straight, maybe flexing the toes up towards the sky. And then I'm going to point my foot down towards the floor. Inhale. And then exhale, I'm going to flex the toes up towards the sky. Inhale, I'm going to point the foot. And exhale to flex. It's okay if there's a little bit of a bend in that front knee. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex back. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex back. And one more. Inhale to point. And exhale to flex back. I'm going to go ahead and rebend that front knee, plant my hands, move myself back to my hands and knees position. You might be taking child's pose. You might be taking another round of cat-cow, or if you're ready, you could tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, and find your downward facing dog. And just a couple of breaths here, wherever you're at, breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and out. And just one more. All right, coming back to hands and knees. We'll meet there wherever you're at. I'm going to reach my right leg back behind me, tuck my toes under, rock forward and back a little bit, waking up the back of the leg. Again, my fingertips are spreading nice and wide here. I've got my fingers really pressing down into the mat to help protect the wrists. I'm going to go ahead and float my back foot up off the floor, but keep my core lifting up. Take an inhale. And then I'm going to draw that knee into the chest and make a slow transition of stepping that foot forward between the hands. Wherever it gets there is fine. I'm going to move my back knee back a little bit and then pull the knee forward. So I roll over the top of the kneecap. You could keep your hands down, or you could lift your hands up onto your front thigh. Maybe thinking about the legs moving towards the midline here to support you if you're a little bit hypermobile in your joints. And then for breath, I'm going to inhale with my arms up and forward, and then exhale, reach the arms out to the side so that I can feel a nice expansion through the front of my chest. And then I'm just going to take one more inhale there, and then exhale, bringing the hands down. I'm going to flex the foot up towards the sky as I move the front leg towards straight. Again, it doesn't have to get all the way to straight. And then I'm going to inhale and point the toes down. And exhale, point the toes up. Inhale, point down. And exhale to point up. Just opening the back line of the leg gently. And one more. And exhaling, I'm going to plant the hands as I step the foot back and move back. Child's pose, cat-cow, or downward facing dog, your choice. And if you need to find any extra movements in your down dog, you can. If you're finding extra movements in your child's pose, that's great as well. You can stay in downward facing dog, or we can meet at hands and knees. This time we're going to inhale. We're going to lift the right leg back behind, core lifts up, belly is working here to support, and then we're going to step the foot forward. If you're in down dog split, that's fine. We're going to come towards warrior one. So if your back knee is down, you're going to lift it up. We're going to spin the back heel down onto the floor so that the toes are at a 45-degree angle and then coming up. And I'm going to turn to face a different way here, but you can stay there with your legs. So right foot forward, left foot back behind you. All right, we're going to do a little bit of our carpal tunnel work here. We'll do a little extra today. So you can bring your right hand onto your right hip, left arm straight out to the side. We're going to inhale and tip over towards the right. And exhale, hand points down and tip over towards the left. And inhale, tip over towards the right, hand goes up. Notice how moving your head around shifts your balance, right? It really changes just the sensation of where we're at. So if you need to have a little wider stance, meaning having your right foot more to the right, you can do that as well. All right, 2 more. And 1 more. All right, when you're ready, you can inhale, bring your arms up through center. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and step yourself back. Hands and knees, downward facing dog, child's pose, whatever works for you. And then once you're there, you're just gonna take some nice deep breaths. If you're familiar with a vinyasa and you move forward to inhale forward to your long plank pose, and then you can exhale and lower down to the floor. You can start to take that and move yourself through. All right, we're gonna meet either staying in downward facing dog or coming to hands and knees, and we'll lift the left leg back. Whatever pose you're in, you're lifting your front body towards your back body to let your core support you. You're spreading your fingertips wide on the mat to help protect your wrists. And then we're gonna step the left foot forward between the hands. Again, back knee up off the floor, spin your back heel down onto the floor so that your toes are at a 45-degree angle. I'll turn to face the camera once again, but you can stay where you are. And then we'll come into the work this time on the other arm. So I'm gonna bring my left hand on my left hip, reach my right arm out towards the side, and then I'm gonna flex my hand up and move my head over towards the left. And exhale, down and to the right. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale to tip left. And exhale to tip right. And again. And exhale. Fantastic to end. We're going to inhale and lift both arms up. Feel the chest go upwards. And then exhale. This time, press your palms together in front of your heart. We're going to step forward to the front of your mat. So you can step both of your feet towards one another. Stepping to the front of your mat. So you come to stand. And then we're going to inhale and just gently lift the arms up towards the sky. Open the arms out to the side. Have a long spine here and forward fold all the way over the legs. If you have sciatica, you're going to keep your knees bent in this position. I've got my feet spread by a couple inches. You can have them spread even more or all the way together, whatever works for you. And then hanging out for a moment, we're going to shake the head. You can shake it yes. And then shake it no. And then shake it yes again. And I'm breathing here. Reversing the swan dive, we're going to bend the knees, maybe bring the hands up on the thighs and walk them up, or reach the arms out to the side if you're nice and strong in your back. Lengthening and then pressing the palms together in front. Interlace the hands behind the back. So you can interlace the hands behind the back, and if that doesn't work for you, then you can go ahead and use a strap between the hands. And so using a strap back behind you and catching hold, whatever works for your practice. And then we're going to take that same forward fold with the bind of the hands. So we're going to inhale, lift the chest up, exhale, bend your knees, forward fold, swan dive forward, and you can pull the clasp of the hands over the head. Again, working with the strap or with your hands interlaced behind the back. And then I'm going to do a little bit of movement here. I'm going to bend my elbows. I'm going to bring my hands to my lower back so that clasp touches onto the lower back. And then that just kind of lets me move my shoulders away from my ears a little bit. And then I'm going to start to straighten my arms. And as I do that, I'm going to let my shoulders fall towards my ears, just kind of giving my rhomboids and the back of my traps a massage with my shoulder blades. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to bend my elbows. I'm going to let the clasp of the hands come to the lower back. The shoulders can float away from the ears for a moment. And then as I exhale, I can lengthen the arms and let the shoulders relax and fall towards the ears. And then one more time, bend the elbows. Maybe pull the shoulders back a little, and then exhale as you straighten the arms, releasing the shoulders. Oh boy, it's a good one. When you're ready, release your arms down. We'll come to reverse the swan dive. Again, either supporting on your legs or reaching your arms out to the side, long spine. Inhale all the way up to stand. And then exhale, we'll press the palms together in front of the heart. I'm going to inhale, I'm going to reach my arms forward. Exhale, fly my arms out to the side. I'm going to reach back behind me, catch hold of my strap again, or interlace my hands. Pull the clasp of the hands or the strap back behind me. This time we're going to come just halfway forward. So I'm going to come to a skier's pose or a chair pose with my arms bound behind me. So I'm feeling the spine nice and long. I've got my knees bent in line with my toes. And then I'm going to transfer my weight over towards my right foot. I'm going to lift my left foot up off the floor. Try to find my balance there. And then reach the left foot all the way back behind you. I got to get it over my blanket. Until you come into a lunge pose. Now in this lunge pose, the clasp of the hands is up off the back and you're trying to make one long line with your body. And then I'm going to bend my elbows so the clasp of the hands comes over towards my right hip and then look over my right shoulder. Inhale. And then just practice exhale, maybe looking down towards the floor. Back heel is lifted up, back leg straight and strong. Inhale, look towards the right. And exhale towards the left. One more breath here. Inhale, lift and twist the heart over towards the right. I'm going to exhale towards the left. I'm going to release my arms. I'm going to inhale, straighten my front leg, give myself a little break there for a moment. And then we're going to bring the hands down to frame the front foot, move the front leg towards straight. The back foot can step in a little bit with the back heel down towards the floor. If you want to use blocks under your hands, you can. Release the back of the neck and we'll soften here. As I inhale, I think about pulling my hips towards, rounding down towards the floor. One more breath. All right, we're going to bend the front knee, step the back foot forward to meet the front. You can have some space between your feet. And then hanging over the legs, the knees can bend. Your choice. If you want to take the hand, we are going to do the other side. So maybe instead grabbing hold of your elbows and letting yourself just fall forward here. Again, really important if you're dealing with sciatica or sciatic pain to keep your knees bent here so that you're not putting pressure on the sciatic nerve while you're in this position. With my elbows clasped, I can think about the elbows falling towards the floor, top of the head towards the floor. Your choice, you can move through a long spine, reversing the swan dive, or you can release your arms and roll up the spine, but make a choice about what you're doing. If you haven't already seen that video, I think I posted it a couple weeks ago about whether to roll up and how to, or whether to move through a long spine. You can check that out. All right, we're going to inhale and reach the arms up. And exhale, press the palms together in front of the heart. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to reach my arms straight forward. And then I'm going to reach my arms out to the side like I'm going to fly really wide and open. I'm going to internally rotate my arms, bring the hands behind the back. Now this time I'm going to take the opposite clasp of the hand. So if I normally put my left thumb on top, I'm going to put my right thumb on. A little ambidextrous in the brain here, as well as even stretch in the shoulders. I'm going to pull the clasp of the hand or the strap, whatever you're working with, back behind, bend my knees forward in line with my toes, coming into a skier's pose, chair pose with bound arms. And breathing there. Nice long spine. I'm going to float my weight over towards my left foot. Just consciously lift my right foot up off the floor and then reach my right leg back behind me until I touch the toes onto the floor. It's almost like you're passing through a gentle warrior 3. Back heel up off the floor. Nice strong back leg. Nice long line with the body. So I'm thinking about making a nice diagonal. And then I'm going to bring the clasp of the hands over towards the left. I'm going to turn my chin over towards the left. Inhale, I can come back to center. And exhale, just a little twist over towards the left, nice and easy. Moving the chin around so that the neck gets a little movement, the body gets a little movement here. Just one more. All right, I'm going to inhale back to center, release my arms, straighten my front leg, reach my arms up towards the sky, grow the spine long, and then bringing the hands down to frame the front foot. You can step the back toes in a couple inches, spin the back heel down if that feels good to you. The front leg is moving towards straight. If it doesn't get all the way there, that's fine. And then releasing the back of the neck. And I'm going to let my left hip pull back here a little bit. Finding my breath, seeing how my legs can be nice and strong, and seeing if my upper body can find a little space. All right, I'm going to bend my front knee. This time I'm going to transfer back to hands and knees to child's pose or to downward facing dog. So figuring out what works for you, making your transition with mindfulness. If you have any or folded your mat, you can go ahead and move aside as you're ready. We'll spend about 5 breaths here in downward facing dog. So if you still need that padding for your wrists, you can keep it. I'm letting the outside of my armpits fall down towards the floor. So I'm thinking about the outside of my shoulder just sloping downwards, finding the external rotation of my arms. And then we're going to take a bend in the right knee and look under the left shoulder. And then taking the opposite, bending the left knee, looking under the right shoulder. I'm swinging my hips from side to side as I do this. Inhaling, exhaling through center, inhaling, bending left, straightening right, exhale through center. Inhale, bend right, and exhale. Inhale, bend left, and exhale. And then we're going to slowly take this action, walking the feet forward towards the hands. So I'm staying nice and juicy in the joints as I go, nice and slow with the breath. When it's not possible for you anymore, you can walk your hands back. And also if you need to flip your wrists around, maybe make fists or use blocks under your hands, you can. Until you come one more time to hang over the legs. And then from here, we're going to come into a malasana, or just this little rounded pose. I'm going to tuck my tailbone under until it pops my heels up off the floor. I'm going to make this little ball. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you, you can find padding that might work for you. You might need padding under your heels, whatever helps you hang out here for a couple of breaths, just to let the back line of the body release. We're nice and deeply creased in the hip sockets here, somewhat like a child's pose. Breathing there. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come to sit. So you can bring yourself back and move your feet in front of you. We'll take strengthening through the core. So I'm going to bring my hands to the back of my knees or my thighs, lift my chest upright, maybe reaching your toes up off the floor or reaching your arms forward if that's available to you. But you also might just be practicing finding the balance of just lifting your toes up and lowering them down. And as you do that, finding your belly muscles, right? So finding where is that little work that can happen through your belly to support you. All right, and then when you're ready, we're gonna slowly lower all the way down onto the back. So I'm reaching my arms nice and long, my legs long. I'm gonna take a little extra slowness here just to give myself a nice core strengthening. All the way overhead, and then just let yourself, you can melt here and let go. Spending a couple more breaths there. All right, we're gonna come to do the thighs last time. So if you want a little cushioning for your head, you can have a little cushioning for your head. I'm gonna roll onto my right side and then bend my knees here, and then I'm going to actually take my left knee up off of my right and reach it back until I can catch hold of the foot. Now you want to be careful of opening your knee out too much. Try to see if you can keep your knee in line with your hip. I'm going to catch hold of my ankle or my foot here. Now I want to really be feeling this in the front of my thigh and not in my knee joint. So if you're feeling it in your knee joint, you could try moving your foot away from you a little bit, reaching it towards the wall behind you, or you could try lowering your knee down or lifting your knee up in space. So just sort of figuring out moving around until you're not in the knee. And if you still feel it in the knee, then go ahead and just let it release. You can just kind of let yourself soften there and still find a little bit of an opening, maybe through the IT band or through your psoas. For those of you who are in the more active thigh stretch, you're feeling it on the front of the leg. And then I'm going to lift my head up just a little bit. I'm going to inhale and look up, and then exhale and look down. We did this a little last class, just a little nerve flossing for the lower body. I'm going to inhale, look up, and exhale down. And just do one more breath there. I'm going to inhale and draw myself back to center and then lower that down. We'll flip over onto the other side. You can just roll onto your stomach and then roll onto the other side. I'll flip over, just rude to face my back to the camera. So lying on the left side, bend in your knees. You can support your head in whatever way feels good. I'm going to flip my top leg up off of my bottom leg, reach the foot back behind me until I can catch hold of the foot. You might also be using a strap to catch hold of the ankle. Well, hello, Patucci. How nice of you to come visit. Hi. Thank you. All right, again, not wanting to feel this in the knees. If you feel it in your knee, you can go ahead and try moving the foot back behind you more, moving the knee up or down. And then we'll do a little bit of the nerve flossing by moving the head around. So you can go ahead and inhale and look up, and then exhale and look down. And inhale to look up, and exhale to look down. And one more. And then releasing that down. I'm going to invite you today to go into your own back bend practice for the next 3 minutes. I'll give you some options. If you're fairly comfortable binding your feet, grabbing hold of your feet, then you can roll onto your belly, bend your knees, catch hold of your feet, and take a bow pose where you lift your feet up off the floor, and that lifts your chest up as well. You want to be really mindful of your lower back if you're taking that. The other option is to roll onto your back and bend your knees and take a half wheel pose. So bending the knees and then lifting the hips up off the ground. If you want to take a restorative version, you could slide a block underneath your hips and rest there. So taking what works for you, hold the back bend for about 5 breaths, unless you're in the restorative version, in which case you can stay for longer. And then you're going to come down and rest in between. If you're working in either version, just notice where your knees go. The knees might have to open a little for bow pose, but you want to be mindful. And especially if you're working in the half wheel, not letting your knees splay outwards to the side. You want to keep your knees in line with your toes. If you haven't already taken a rest, you can go ahead and lower yourself down and take your rest now. Okay, when you're ready, starting to finish up. Okay, and then we're gonna move through a neutralizing of the spine by coming into a twist. So you can roll over onto your side, bring yourself back up to sit. If you're tight in the hips, you're gonna wanna sit up on something here. So I'm gonna start by crossing my right leg over my left, and you might be bending your left knee underneath you, or you could keep your left leg extended. And then from here, you can go ahead and find a twist by wrapping your left arm around your right leg. I'm going to let my right sits bone go down towards the floor, sit up nice and tall, and then reach that right arm back behind me. And then just breathing here. I'm going to inhale and pull or lengthen really my spine up towards the sky. And as I exhale, I feel myself released deeper into the twist. And you might try moving the head back and forth here, moving the chin in the opposite direction, just to be sure that you're not overdoing it through the neck and the head. All right, we're gonna release back to center. We're gonna take a hip opener here. So a few different options. You could take a cow face pose where you stack both knees on top of one another and sit that way, maybe something underneath you. If you're familiar with ankle to knee and you feel nice and open in your hips, you can take that. Or you can take this variation of ankle to knee, just a simpler version, a little softer, which is my shin. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see because I realize that my clothing is just as dark as the mat. So maybe I'll actually move forward a little bit. So you're going to bend your knees so that your shins are in line with one another. I'm flexing my feet here. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring a block in front of me and I'm going to forward fold. Right now I have my right shin in front of my left shin. And it's almost as if I have a string between my knees and that cuts right through my legs. So the legs are away from me, not pulled in close. And then from there, lowering down. If you're also in cow face pose with the knees stacked on top of one another, you can stay upright or lower yourself down. We didn't do a lot of hip opening today, so if you're not feeling super open, that's okay. And then breathing there, using your breath to begin to open through the hips, inhaling, imagining you can draw the breath down into the place where you feel tightness. And exhaling, allowing the spine to release and to soften. A couple more breaths there. Okay, when you're ready, you can bring yourself upright. We'll move on to the other side. So again, crossing the left leg over the right, preparing for seated spinal twist. You could also bend the right knee underneath you if that's available to you. Wrapping your right arm around your knee, sitting up nice and tall, inhaling, and then exhaling, looking back over your left, bringing your left hand back behind you. And then again, you might take a little movement with the chin. I stayed for a couple more breaths on the other side before I started it. So maybe take it a couple times and then let yourself deepen into the twist for a couple of breaths as well. Inhaling, lifting the spine upwards towards the sky. Exhaling, deepening into the twist. All right, again, coming into your hip opener. So turn to face. You can either stack your knees with one another. So you might even have to pick up your left shin or push your knees towards one another into a cow face pose, or you can take a modified ankle to knee where I bring my shins a little forward, flex my feet, and I've got this line, almost I can see like my pant legs, the inseam of my pant legs. It's like it's one long line, and then taking a forward bend there, maybe using a block for underneath your forehead if that's what you need. And just taking some breaths there, inhaling, letting the breath come down as if it could stretch the back of the hips, and exhaling, softening and releasing. Using your breath to find a little opening in the body. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and bring yourself back up to sit. You can bring yourself to come and lie down onto your back. And finding your lying down position, you can turn your palms to face upwards towards the sky. Allowing the back line of the body to release towards the floor. Feeling the front of your body float upwards towards the air, nice and open and soft. Allowing the benefits of your practice to soften into the tissues of your body. If you'd like to stay a little longer, you can stay a little longer. If you're watching by live, you can pause the class and let yourself sit. If you're ready to move onward, you can start to deepen your breath. Use that deeper breath to reach your arms up when you're ready. Find some movement in your fingers and your toes. And then you can roll yourself over to your side. And when you're ready, draw yourself back up to sit. Take your time. If you're not moving at this pace, that's fine. I just want to be mindful to end within the 55-minute realm. Coming to seated, you could press your palms together in front of your heart if that's comfortable for you. Maybe close the eyes for a moment. Just thank yourself for showing up, for taking the time today. And inhaling, lifting the heart, exhaling, forward bending, and ending your practice. Good to see you.